Hi everyone, today I'm gonna be showing you guys a video of a fight with Orobyss at 3000 corruption. Let's go.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I cannot.
Return, but what's of yours?
So if you have not seen my previous videos, I'm going to be explaining a little about how this build works. So you want to be alternating between Snap Freeze and Teleport when bossing to keep the enemy permanently stunned. The reason why Teleport stuns the enemy is because we have Front Warp, which stuns the enemy at its destination. Although the teleport destination is random, if you are very close to the enemy, you are guaranteed to stun the enemy. You just have to practice this for some time, and after some time, you shouldn't have any problem. As for Snap Freeze, you want to focus on cooldown recovery speed and increase freeze duration. So items like Frozen Heart give us a significant amount of increased freeze duration with Snap Freeze, and the belt and boots give us cooldown recovery speed. We also do have a passive Ancient Inscription, which scales intelligence to cooldown recovery speed. Because we have a high amount of intelligence, we get a significant amount of cooldown recovery speed. So in the Snap Freeze skill tree, we want to spec 5 points into Cryomancy and spec 1 point into Freezing Mist. This gives us 80% increased freeze duration. We also want to spec 4 points into Snow Flurry, which gives us 24% cooldown recovery speed. We spec 1 point into Flash Freeze to decrease the cooldown. It does reduce freeze duration, but we want the cooldown to be reduced a little bit more. It might actually work without Flash Freeze, but this is what I have for now. So we add the freeze duration together, 60% plus 20% minus 16% plus 72%, that gives us 136% increased freeze duration. So Snap Freeze has a base duration of 2 seconds, so 2 seconds multiplied by 2.36 gives us 4.72 seconds. Notice that we recover 20% of remaining cooldown when we cast Snap Freeze if we freeze an enemy. So as long as we do not miss our Snap Freeze, the cooldown of Snap Freeze is actually 4.56 seconds. So that gives us 0.16 seconds to react on Snap Freeze. So if you actually want to just keep spamming Snap Freeze instead of pressing Snap Freeze and Teleport, you can do so. The reason why I have Snap Freeze and Teleport is so we have a little bit more wiggle room for stun. So I did make some adjustment on the item build. I switched Limit Fate for an Exalted Boots to get more stats. We don't really need the cooldown recovery speed for Teleport. So as long as we get the 32%, the T7 increased cooldown recovery speed, we should be good. So I did get a good implicit as well. I got the 16% increased movement speed, which scales with the wrong warp spell damage. So ideally what you want for the boots is intelligence, movement speed, and a T7 cooldown recovery speed. The fourth affix does not really matter. I made a swap on the belt as well. So this has a slightly better stats in terms of lightning damage and cooldown recovery speed, but the belt that I got has a 6% increased movement speed, which gives us 18% increased spell damage. So this belt has slightly more damage than what I had before. And in terms of helmet, I was using Bone Clamor, but Prismatic Gaze would have been better because we get a much higher critical strike chance, and we don't really need the armor from Bone Clamor. So if I equip Prismatic Gaze, I get 85% spell critical strike chance, and because the critical strike multiplier is 422%, an increased spell critical strike chance would be a lot better than the intelligence. When mapping, the biggest problem is survivability. We do not want to be one-shot by enemies, so there are going to be some changes in the items. First off, we do not need Frozen Heart. We switch it with Devotion for the increased lightning damage and lightning penetration. You can get this pretty cheap in the market. I got it pretty cheap to LP1. I believe this was 14 million because of the good roll on the lightning damage and lightning penetration, but these are really cheap in the market. You switch 2 of the Juras ring with 2 red rings, and you really need the 10% less damage taken. It really helps a lot. It also caps out my resistances. It does give 5 to all attributes and 6% increased movement speed, so it does give some sort of damage as well. It's not It does not provide as much damage as Jura's Ring, but it is fine. Ideally, you would want to have a 1 LP one with intelligence, but these are really expensive, so 0 LP ones are alright as is. You also want to switch your boots with Blade of the Exile. It gives you 12 intelligence. It also gives a lot of movement speed, and that movement speed also scales with Round Warp. You want to slam 16 intelligence and movement speed into the boots. You want to switch your belts with Strength of Soul. It gives you a lot of ward due to the mana stand gain as ward, and gives you a lot of ward retention as well. So you want to slam lightning damage. If you have a 2 LP, you want to slam lightning damage and cooldown reduction. As for the idols, you will want to swap out 4 idol slots and use that to cap out your resistances. You can actually take more if you want, but to cap out resistances, but I'm just using 4 slots for it. So the idols that I chose are dodge rating and white resistances, as well as physical resistances. So that allows me to cap my physical and void resistances. It increases my dodge rating a little, but that's not significant. There wasn't really anything else that you would want to take with the resistances. I mean, small idols do not really give a lot of flexibility, so dodge rating is probably the best that you can get. So notice I did not cap my cold resistance. That's the only resistance I did not cap, but if you want to cap the cold resistances, you could take out one of this and put 2 cold resistance idols on those slots. So with that change, let's go to mapping. You also want to switch the teleport to Flame Rush. Let's go. The switch to Flame Rush is so that we get the Frost Guard combination. So I did make some changes in the passive as well. I took out 4 points from Knowledge of Destruction and 1 point from Rune of Dilation to spec into Edict of the Scion. So we don't really need more damage at 3000 corruption. We need more survivability. So we took 1 point off of Rune of Dilation because the 3 seconds I believe is enough. We'll be casting Flame Rush and teleport around every 3 to 4 seconds, so taking 1 point off is alright. And we put 5 points into Edict of the Scion because we need more ward. So when we cast Frost Claw, and we have a pretty high cast speed, so this would generate a significant amount of ward. Also, it increases the area for Frost Claw as well as Elemental Novas, allowing more spark charges to be presented to the enemy or Orobyss. As for blessings, I did make some changes. I went back to get increased armor percentage as well as increased armor from the Age of Winter and Spirits of Fire timeline. The reason for that is that you will get a lot more damage mitigation from armor as well. And I would prefer Bone Claimer over Prismatic Gaze during mapping because we need more armor instead of more damage. To summarize, all you need for this build to work to permanent stun the boss is increased cooldown recovery speed and increased freeze duration with Snap Freeze, as well as a wrong warp. So ideally you would want to have at least 70% increased freeze duration with Snap Freeze on your Frozen Heart, Amulet, and T7 increased cooldown recovery speed on both your belt and boots. You can get T5 cooldown recovery speed that just gives you less wiggle room. You can get a pretty cheap 2 LP round warp in the market, and you need round warp for the stun on teleport at its destination for 1 second. So let's say you do not have a lot of intelligence and you are just starting out. You shouldn't have a problem because you have a stun from the Snap Freeze and you also have a stun from the teleport. You just have less of a wiggle room. So after some time you should have more and more wiggle room as you get better gear, but you shouldn't have a problem with this build at low intelligence. I'm going to be uploading this build in Maxrow, and I'm going to be attaching the link in the description. You can also follow what I have for mapping if you want, and feel free to put in any comments and maybe I can learn something from you guys and maybe you guys can learn something from me. And please do subscribe if you enjoy this content. Thank you everyone.